Good morning, and welcome to One Wise Woman. So a few weeks ago, I had an experience as I was going to bed, and I often practice a heart coherence and meditation as I drift into sleep. And while I was in this practice, I had this experience of an immense discomfort come over my body. And I wasn't moving, I was lying still, but I found that I felt really hot, like severely hot. My entire body got so hot that it was extremely uncomfortable. And my initial reaction was to move and to get out of the discomfort. And I decided to consciously to stay in it a little bit longer. And I thought to myself, well, I asked for something I've never had before. And for me to receive and live into a person that I'm becoming, it's not all peaches and roses. There's going to be some discomfort and there's going to be some heat. And so I continued to lay there in my coherence practice, breathing into the experience of the heat, the pain, the discomfort until it truly was unbearable. And then I rolled over and it completely went away. And as soon as I was done, I thought to myself, well, I probably could have stayed there a little longer. And maybe tomorrow, if it happens again, I'll try to stay a little bit longer. But it was really an eye-opening experience for me because my initial reaction is to rush past things that are uncomfortable. And I think that's true for a lot of us, that being in discomfort or pain is, whether that's physical or emotional, it's not fun, right? It's not something that we all want to dance around and joy in. But how do we grow? How do we shift? How do we change who we are and become who we are supposed to become if we don't also go through the challenges and the tribulations that get us there? And so I had this kind of moment this morning as I was remembering this experience around sand turning into glass. And so I looked it up, and it's approximately 1700 degrees Celsius, 3000 degrees Fahrenheit, that sand, among a few other ingredients, has to be melted down to liquid to be turned into glass. And this realization that sand on its own is just a pile of sand, right? I mean, we can walk on it, we can move on it, but it doesn't really hold much of anything. And so how do we have the experience of coming into maybe a vase or a bowl or this extravagant, beautiful thing that comes out of blown glass and has the capacity to hold almost anything we put in it, right? And so this experience of how do we move through the heat, through the discomfort, through the pain to get to the beauty that's on the other side and to get to the capacity to hold more. And so my invitation to you today is to look at, where are you rushing past discomfort? Where are you numbing pain? Where are you trying to get through something just to get to the other side without ever really feeling all that is there in the moment? And with that, I'm also going to just encourage you to not necessarily go to the depths of pain, sorrow, the more shadow of emotions, because this is also building capacity for. So we don't want to dive so deep into something that we can't get ourselves out of without support. So I invite you to start with something small. Start with something like maybe the discomfort of standing a little longer than you want to, and you want to fidget with your leg, but you choose to intentionally stay still, or something along those lines. It's a little bit smaller. Maybe you stay with the discomfort of wanting to have somebody reach out to you that hasn't reached out to you, and you just sit with that instead of trying to change it. And then as you build this muscle and this capacity, you can continue to go deeper into things that are more painful or more uncomfortable and continue to build the capacity for that. And One way to do this is to actually move the emotions through the body so that it's not just a mental game, but it's also a physical experience of feeling this discomfort and how do we actually move it through the body. And there are some ways to do that in terms of nervous system modulation. Some great ways to do that just in your own space would be jumping up and down or going for a walk outside in the sunshine. These are ways to modulate the nervous system and move an emotion through the body. And you can shake your entire body. That's kind of a fun one if you really let yourself live into that. So really like bringing yourself into a space of that emotion, of that pain, of that discomfort, and instead of grabbing your phone to scroll and numb through it, or turning on the TV to watch a show, or just trying to get to the other side and push through, how can you just stay with it a little bit longer? And maybe you go for that walk, or maybe you do a full body shake and laugh and find a little bit of joy in it, because this invitation is to increase capacity for the discomfort, but in that growth and in that increasing capacity, you are also increasing your capacity for the depth of love and joy and power and light and all of the really wonderful emotions that you're not able to feel in their depth because you haven't sat with feeling in the depth of the discomfort. So that is my wisdom for the day. I invite you to do whatever you will with it, and please let me know in the comments, send me a message if this resonated, if you did any of these practices, and if you felt a shift on the other side. Have a beautiful day.